While my heart belongs to the long-form world of writing manuscripts, building an author platform requires a very different kind of creative energy. Hi, I'm Katharina Steele, author of Vanishings, the Wicked Wood Mystery Series Book 1, a middle-grade fantasy mystery long-listed in the Ozma Fantasy Fiction Awards 2025-26. Today, I'm taking you behind the scenes of my author business to show you how I create social media reels and posts without letting them eat all my writing time. This video is the companion to my latest Substack newsletter, Behind the Scenes of an Author Business, Creating Reels and Posts, which is the final part of my Behind the Scenes series. If you've ever felt completely drained by trying to keep up with social media as an author, this is for you. When I first started creating reels and posts, they were incredibly time intensive, and the mental load was a lot. I was learning multiple tools at once: Photoshop, Premiere Pro, different social platforms, and none of them had anything to do with my previous career in accounting. These had been hobby tools that I now needed to use professionally. At the same time, I was trying to figure out what my branding should look like for my author business and how to actually implement it in images, fonts, colors, and tone. So if you're in that early stage where every reel feels like pushing a boulder up a hill, you're not imagining it. There is a real learning curve, both for software tools and for audience-focused branding. One of the biggest shifts for me was moving from I'll just post something to audience-focused branding. That starts with understanding who your audience is, what they're actually interested in as it relates to your author platform. You might need a bit of market research here, looking at how your readers or the gatekeeping adults around them talk about books like yours. It also means paying attention to the results of different posts and reels as a kind of informal market testing. For me, posting about topics that are genuinely relevant to my author platform is far more important than chasing something that might go viral. Once you're thinking this way, it feeds directly into your captions. On short-form platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, people are scrolling quickly and often aren't fully focused. On long-form platforms like Substack or Patreon, they're more willing to sit with a deep dive. So your captions on short-form platforms need to be scannable, quick to read, capture attention very quickly within those first few seconds. That's something I'm still improving, but having that audience-focused lens means I'm not just writing whatever comes to mind. I'm thinking, what does this audience care about, and how can I speak to that clearly and quickly? Because I'm extremely familiar with Excel from my accounting days, I built myself an Excel file to track all my social media posts. In that sheet, I have columns for subject overview, ideas or thoughts, script, caption, hashtags, music license info if relevant, caption plus hashtags plus music license combined, a YouTube link, title and tags if relevant. The key column for me is the caption plus hashtags plus music license column. I use the concatenate formula. Concatenate in all caps to combine several cells into one neat field I can copy and paste directly into the caption when I'm scheduling posts. A simple example of the formula looks like this, up on the screen. That lets me pull information from multiple cells and any extra text I want, like music license, into a single cell. It sounds small, but this one formula saves me from fiddly, repetitive copying and pasting. It keeps everything consistent and dramatically reduces the mental friction of setting up posts. Let's talk about scripts, because this has been a game changer for me. These days, I usually prepare several scripts before I even set up my tripod and camera, or my green screen if I'm using it. That alone reduces how much editing I have to do later in Premiere Pro, because I'm not rambling on camera and cutting out huge chunks. For reels and video, every element benefits from paying attention to copywriting, the caption, the script you speak on camera with subtitles, any text overlays, hashtags, YouTube titles and tags. Writing a script in advance removes repetition, organizes the information so it flows logically, and makes me feel more confident speaking on camera. I use a teleprompter style video recording app where the script scrolls on the screen at a comfortable speed. That means I can look at the camera directly, which helps with trust, and I usually only need 1 or 2 takes. When I'm drafting the script, I always think about the hook. What am I saying in the first 3 seconds to stop someone scrolling? Images and text overlays can help, but they can also become overused very quickly. A strong verbal hook that's specific to you and your brand is much more sustainable. Then the rest of the script is about keeping the viewer with you, staying focused, not rambling, and delivering on what that hook promised. This is actually one of the reasons I decided to learn copywriting. It touches everything from reels to captions to how I talk about my books. For a long time, I used music in most of my reels, sometimes very softly, just to fill out the sound. For pure image reels, I'd combine voiceover with music. These days, whether I use music really depends on the post. Sometimes it starts to feel a bit overproduced for my audience-focused branding, so I'm more selective now. When I do use music, I like the site choosica.com because I can search for tracks that fit the mood I want and see the copyright license I need to include in my caption. If I reuse a track, I copy the license from my Excel records into the new post, which saves more time. On the recording side, I have 2 main filming locations in my home. A blank wall behind my office setup, a green piece of fabric on a pole that I hook into holders on my curtain rod. Having a solid color background is crucial because the auto keying feature in video software doesn't always work well. In the past, I had to manually key out backgrounds frame by frame, which is as painful as it sounds. For some reels, I don't film myself at all. I use images or screen recordings and record a voiceover on my tablet using a simple voice memos app. It's free, and while there are higher end options, this works well enough for my purposes. I've built up a stock of images over the last 5 or so years, and I often rework those for posts. If I don't have something that fits, I'll sketch an idea and use that sketch to guide AI image generating software. My preferred tool is Night Cafe, along with a prompt. I usually set the AI to follow my image or sketch to about 90%, depending on the model. That gives a little room to move, but not much. I do this because I'm very reluctant to steal from another artist's work, and this is my way of avoiding that. AI almost never delivers a perfect picture on its own. The number of errors I see in an AI image online is honestly scary. Things like slides that don't land in pools or perspectives that makes no sense. So I import the AI output into Photoshop and fix what doesn't work, structural issues, anatomy, composition, until it actually matches what I want to depict. In the newsletter, I showed 2 fortress images from my middle grade series, The Withywood Mysteries. One I painted digitally in Photoshop, and one AI generated image based on that image and then edited. The AI followed my painting fairly closely, but it still didn't fully understand concepts like the houses built up against the inner walls between the sections of the fortress. In some ways, I actually prefer my original image, and I'm curious which one other people prefer, because that tells me something about how AI visuals land versus human crafted ones. As I noted earlier, I use Premiere Pro to edit my reels, and when I first started, I had a lot of cutting to do. Those try again and try again moments where I left the camera running and just repeated a line until I got it right. Now, thanks to the teleprompter app, I rarely have to cut much at all. My editing process looks something like this: remove any blippers and nest the remaining clips together. Skip the audio enhance feature because it makes my voice sound a bit weird and AI-ish. And an alter key effect to remove the background from my green or plain wall and adjust transparency, shadow, and so on. Sometimes I crop and zoom the video so there's room for subtitles, text, and overlays. I add any images, any movement across the timeline, music if I'm using it, the voiceover audio file if I've done it that way, subtitles, and any special effects I think will help the reel. Most of the time, less is more on effects. Because Facebook, TikTok used to have different dimensions to Instagram, I created separate sequences. Now I only do two, one for TikTok and one for YouTube. I'm very glad Instagram's dimensions now match Facebook and TikTok because there's one less reel to build. However, because of changes to my creator account on Instagram, they put me into a test group. From what I can tell, it made it completely unworkable for me, and I have left that platform completely because of it. In Premiere Pro, I can manage all the sequences in one single project file, which is one of the reasons I prefer it over other editors. I work on one sequence until I'm happy, and then I copy the necessary elements to the other, adjusting them to fit each size. On top of that, I use templates. In Photoshop, I have social media templates for my Substack newsletter posts on the 7th and my blog post on the 21st. I save each one as a new file and update it for the current issue. In Premiere Pro, I take a similar previous post, save as, update the links to the new image files, and adjust the timeline. I've also saved subtitle formats for each sequence, which is another big time saver. There's more I could do here, but for now, I'm happy with what I can produce, especially given that I'm self-taught on Premiere Pro and these tools. On scheduling, there are tools like Buffer that will post to multiple platforms, but I've found two problems. First, social media platforms don't like external schedulers. Their algorithms favor content uploaded natively. Second, I have to create different versions for each platform anyway, so it doesn't save me that much time. With my system, I can load one reel across 4 platforms within 2 to 3 minutes, which makes external schedulers unnecessary for me. Interaction matters too. If you never spend time viewing, liking, and commenting on other people's posts or responding to comments on your own, the algorithm tends to treat you as a non-active account and limits your reach. I don't think you need to do this right before you post. I think regular, genuine interaction is enough for the algorithm to see you as active. And by the way, those emoji-only comments, according to the notes I read, they really don't count. I schedule my post to go live at 8 a.m. my time because that hits US viewers around 8 p.m. Eastern and Australian viewers between 8 and 11 a.m., depending on where they are, which seems to be the best posting time for me. Finally, I want to mention a resource I've created for young writers in your life. I've put together a free worksheet called Plan a Social Media Post, a fun worksheet for kids aged 8 through to 12. It guides young writers in planning a social media post or a simple reel idea tied to a short story. And it focuses on thinking about their audience, writing hooks and captions, simple scripts, and clear call to action. Doing all of that without needing your own social media accounts. It's designed to encourage safe, creative social media thinking that builds confidence and skills. always with adult supervision. I'll link to it in the description if you'd like to use it with a young writer. So that's a look at how I've streamlined my reel and post creations so I can maintain my author platform visibility without turning it into a full-time job. If you'd like to see all of this in written form, you can read the full Substack newsletter behind the scenes of an author's business, creating reels and posts. I'll leave the link below. If you found this helpful, feel free to like the video, subscribe to the channel, or share it with another author who's struggling with reels and posts. And if you try any part of my process or use the kids' worksheet, I'd love to hear how it goes for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.